Today we have Aryaka to discuss networking, security, and observability. Welcome, everyone.
Hello, thanks for having us today.
I appreciate everyone jumping on the call today. My name is Warren Camillo. I'm the channel sales director for Aryaka. I am brand new to Aryaka. I'm 90 days in, so please, please bear with me. Also on the call is Matt Fredrickson, and Matt will be leading the call. And today we're here to discuss the secure networking journey and basically how to sell Aryaka. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I'm Matt Fredrickson. I'm the Global Director of Sales Engineering for Aryaka. So you're in great hands here. We've got wonderful relationship capabilities with Warren. But overall, I'm here to help make sure that we're the right fit and that we can meet all of the needs that you have for everything that we can provide, and even give some examples of some successes that we've had with your group, and then just in general in the marketplace and where we are the right fit. So with that, go ahead and move the slide up, and we'll cover off on a little bit of what we do. So in the current world today, you guys probably see a lot of vendors out there that provide things as a managed service, whether that's a Lumen, Command, other stuff, where to get to a security focused networking solution, they take a lot of different pieces and cobble them together. Or you have customers that have their own point solutions and they try and do those on their own and try and deliver value back to the business. But that tends to create other unintended consequences of trying to have all the coverage of all the different technologies they need in one place, but be able to actually operate that together. Things like integrations that don't necessarily work, or APIs that continue to break because you might have a single vendor solution that's really made up of acquisitions and other things that turn into kind of just that same disjointed solution where they're constantly playing catch up to try and make that happen. Or you have the bad user experience where you stacked a whole bunch of technologies together, and that can create performance problems, either by over enforcing security that impacts applications, or applications that might bypass security and visibility. And so you've got different operational teams that struggle there. And all this translates into really a lack of agility, timelines of organizations that need to accomplish change. And because they have so many point solutions, or because it's become so highly complex, that makes it a challenge for them to deliver on what it takes to really do something that should be simple for a business and give all those outcomes back to the business, instead of just spending money and coming and asking for budget, or delaying timelines for things like site openings, M&A activity, and other stuff. So that's where we see a lot of those struggles take place. Go ahead and move it on. So our approach to all of this really changes the way that all of those things are delivered. For one, Aryaka is a single company. We have our own intellectual property. We have created our own proprietary stack of both networking and security capabilities through a single pass architecture. So we're not stitching together all those different things. But then we combine that with the power of a global private network. And this is what we're probably most known for over time, although security is now stepping up into that place. But that global private network now gives a multi-continental capability to an organization that has global locations and needs the performance of something like it's regional throughout the globe, but still keep those controls and that comprehensive observability in place, where nothing goes unseen and nothing suffers from the challenges of a global public internet, where congestion can throw problems into the mix at any time, and then do it in a way that the customer gets to control what features and what timelines they need to meet to deliver and meet the needs of their organization. So if it just starts as an SD-WAN and then they add security onto things like that later, that flexible delivery, we can beat that capability, but we can also do things in phase segments where it might just be, we need to roll this out to this region at this time, this region at that time. So it may not be a technology-based flexibility. Either way, we deliver as the customer needs it, not just based on what's signed on a contract and what that scope of work and SKU base turns out to be. So go ahead and move on. So as we look at the entire scope of what Aryaka provides, this is just an example of just a high-level architecture and how we take our hybrid approach to networking. And this is unique to us, where we have not only the particular Aryaka network access point, which is where all security and SD-WAN control starts. So it starts on-prem, but that's the first point. So if we have a branch that has that Aryaka network access point, now we can start making the networking optimization, WAN optimization decisions right there at the branch, start doing things like deduplication, compression, and other things. But then when they have a software as a service capability that might be serviced locally through the public internet, we don't have to put that necessarily through that Aryaka backbone, which is that second path that you would see coming out of that site, and be able to deliver a full comprehensive set of security to those software as a service, public internet services, and then still use the Aryaka WAN optimized public or global backbone that's private, fully controlled by Aryaka to actually get those services for even internally housed applications. And now that we've got things like Anthropic and Claude and people starting to create their own applications internally, and depend less in some cases on software as a service, building out their own stack, either path can be a critical time in the growth of what organizations are seeing right now. So either way. And then the other unique piece about the way that this is distributed is that POP is a gateway for all the remote users to be able to experience the exact same security capabilities and WAN optimization capabilities as if they were sitting right inside of a branch to access whether that's a private application, a public application, or anything else there. So let's go on to that next slide. So we do this in a very unique way. I mentioned that we have this single pass architecture, but this is where we combine really those same characteristics of focusing on application performance, user experience, and all of those things together. But now we've taken this a step further and really kind of given a baseline of how organizations, whether it's organizations consuming AI, and they need a solid network to be able to deliver those new AI-driven solutions, just like they would for human-based solutions. We can be the networking element that allows them to deliver that true performance and deliver a return on investment on those AI investments. The next piece is things like that observability for all the AI applications and everything that are out there, where some organizations, whether they know it or not, they have AI in their organization, and this can help them identify what AI applications are being consumed in their organization and figure out, is that shadow IT behavior, shadow AI behaviors that's determined now. But now we can take actionable visibility and say, this is a tool that XYZ user is using and they're outperforming their peers. This may be a tool that we want to adopt, or, oh my gosh, that tool could create a giant security problem. And now we can give all that observability and give anybody who controls this environment the levers to actually enforce blocking that tool or making sure that it performs up to its highest standard. And then from a security perspective, now we're adding in a lot more tools so that AI security, not only do we have the ability to use AI in that My Aryaka portal, give the control, give all the places where we can look at data loss prevention, we can look at the way that threats are now emerging in an AI specific way, because AI does use some different protocols and other things, and can trick a lot of systems into believing it's a human user. So with this security, now we can look at things from an AI specific perspective and help protect against the new emerging threats that AI creates, as well as use AI to address current threats and keep our visibility top of mind on all of those things. Next slide, please. So this portal has grown a lot, and a lot of our users really enjoy the new portal. We get a lot of great feedback on this because it consolidates you into something that even an executive could jump into and gain some meaningful insights over what's happening on Aryaka. Not that we expect a CFO to just jump into My Aryaka because they're sending a bill out to us, but if somebody wanted to jump in there, they could have a high level understanding of everything that goes on in their network, from the networking performance down to specific security risks. But we can also tailor this to functions so that if you have a network operations team that needs a very specific set of visibility, we can divide it up that way, or a security operations team that needs to be very specific on what type of views they need to look for in the security flows of that environment. This portal can provide that from one single place where they're not swivel chairing back and forth from a network view to other, to start doing forensic investigations or just understanding of what kind of risk actually lays out there in their environment, or even just fine tuning over what applications need priority to make sure that the business performs at its top form. All right. So here's an example of a great customer deal, and we chose this one specifically because it is closely related to this organization. So you may have heard about it, but I just want to reinforce this about what we've done for Hubs as an organization, where we took all of their sites and increased the performance of their entire network so that we saved them a lot of money from their traditional MPLS, gave them a lot more uptime, high availability environment with a greater cost cutting. But we also improved the performance of their network so that even the applications that were housed in could either be consolidated into a smaller footprint to cover a greater geography and not sacrifice any user performance, like a lot of the engineering capabilities that were happening that way. But this also speaks to the way that we partnered with them to deliver all of these sites in their timeline. And they had a very aggressive requirement to move and get off of their MPLS. We were able to meet that requirement. And now what stemmed from that original deployment of those sites has also spawned people that worked at Hubs that have gone on to other organizations. And when they raised their hand in a meeting at their new organization, said, hey, I've got the solution. This was my easy button at my last company when I was with Hubs. And so let's expand into that. And now we've also expanded into the security environment and given them an easy button to say, all right, our Palo Alto contracts are coming up to term, or our Checkpoint, Fortinet, whatever you name the next gen firewall capability. Let's consolidate to and simplify our footprint, our organization, and the way that we actually delve in there. So I give this as a perfect example of this is a land and expand customer, where even though they're more of an enterprise customer, we're seeing the same behavior repeated for small, medium enterprise, small businesses, and everything going on there. So there's a question that just popped up about how advisors identify customers that have outgrown MPLS or struggling with application performance. Being able to identify those, I mean, there's a few key pieces. I mean, if you guys have been involved with the previous MPLS deployments, that's a pretty good sign that bringing Aryaka to the table might get that conversation started. Or if they complain about things for performance, especially when you're talking about China performance, engineering applications, other applications that tend to be very latency sensitive, that's where we can come and play that role. We're seeing a lot of customers migrate off of traditional MPLS, but lately I've seen a tremendous uptake in former Masergy customers or current Masergy customers that they like the performance, they like the visibility, but now they don't care so much for the support environment that's been created over the last year, 2 years in what they have there. Also, the cost really hasn't changed there. So I'm seeing a lot of customers that migrate over from there. They kind of had that traditional MPLS with the security wrapper on it. And those tend to be really, really easy fit migrations for an Aryaka solution. So thank you very much for that question. So with that, I'm going to pass this over to Warren and we can continue moving in.
Yes, so the Aryaka idea customer profile. So we're looking at revenues of like Matt mentioned, we can go from SMB all the way to enterprise. So we are customers typically at the 100 billion to 5 billion revenue. Industries, we're looking at the top three are going to be manufacturing, logistics, and software, internet. The bottom tiers would be transportation, construction, retail, multi-site retail, and restaurants. The ideal or the value that we bring is like for customers that are looking at Aryaka as a global presence, right? They can either be a nationwide or global presence, but the more sites, the better. So minimum 3 sites, nationwide or regional, or 20 plus locations inside. So it just depends on how many sites the customer has. But like I mentioned, we range from SMB to enterprise. Key buying personas, so CISOs, CIOs, your CTOs, your typical decision makers, the VP, director of IT, infrastructure or network operations center. You're looking also at the VP of director of security, especially on the SASE piece. And then also the technical decision makers, right? The network architects, network engineers, cloud, and also security architects. Identifying the right customer. So these are the typical questions to ask. Do you have multi-site or global offices? Like I mentioned in the previous slide, the more sites, the better. That's where we bring value, especially securing not only your application, but your network. Are you dealing with SD-WAN plus security sprawl? Is your IT team too small to manage separate vendors? I think that's another huge value that we bring is we're 24/7, 365 managed service or co-managed service. So depending on the customer needs, if they want to do an 825 where they manage it and after hours, they want Aryaka to manage it after hours. That's something that's a value that we bring to our to your customers and also the customers that we manage. Are you migrating apps to cloud or hybrid? Like what Matt mentioned, a lot of customers are migrating applications to cloud or hybrid, but also AI applications. We're seeing a lot of customers come to us now, especially with AI applications taking up bandwidth. So in the previous past, now with AI now, it's doubling the performance, right? So it's consuming doubling the bandwidth for your customers' needs currently today. Do branch offices have poor application performance? That's a huge one, right? Especially if it's a global organization. If it's, if you're noticing applications, not working properly, that's the value that we bring here at Aryaka. Our MPLS costs becoming unstable. Um, that's another thing that you can ask your customers that I think with MPLS, we can upgrade your customers to SD-WAN, and having them jump on that private backbone network. And then the last one here, have customers who struggle with connectivity to China. Um, we, that's the value. That's a huge value that we bring as we've got a physical presence in China. A lot of vendors or competitors that we compete against, they have, some kind of connectivity via China, but majority of them are going to be at the layer 3, which is, direct to the internet, where our private backbone, we have an actual physical POP that's located in China. So that gives, customers not only performance-wise, but security-wise, um, utilizing Aryaka's network. The signals to the right, we have too many vendors to manage. I think that's a huge thing, right? If you're looking at signals or keywords or customers are bringing it up, I think consolidation, that's huge, right? Bringing all your different vendors into one single, partner like Aryaka. Our remote offices have terrible performance. We need to support hybrid work globally. So with, the world today, you got hybrid remote workers, but they're working from home, but also going to the office. That's the value that we bring. MPLS is too expensive. Moving to zero trust, but don't know where to start. The one thing that we pride ourselves on is, the customer can choose the journey. So they don't always have to, it's not an all-in-one solution like other competitors or vendors where you have to go all in with their solution. We bring value where they can choose the journey. So if they just need SD-WAN at, period of time and they want to jump into SASE, later in 6 to 9 months after all the renewals are coming up and they want to consolidate, that's something that, we bring and we bring value. And then our security and network teams aren't aligned. That's another, key signal that you want to listen for. What to tell your customers, some key differentiators. Like I mentioned, I think the big one is going to be, your own private backbone network. Customers want that security. They want a secure network, but also optimizing their application performance. That's a big differentiator. True single vendor SASE, like I mentioned previously. We do SASE and SD-WAN. We built our, our SASE solution based off our SD-WAN product that we've been doing for 16 years, our service. So the security piece was just an additional add-on, and basically it's a all-in-one solution that we offer. Fully managed service, we can do it, like I mentioned, with a white glove service. So you can do a fully managed, or you can do a co-managed, fully managed service. And then fast deployment, we can turn on, we can deploy, but also turn it on, with a click of a switch, right? If the customer does not need SASE, they just need SD-WAN, but SASE in 6 to 9 months, all it is just us enabling a feature for SASE, and we can turn on SASE. And then SME to enterprise, so we're scalable from, customers with 3 sites all the way to 5,000 sites, and there's no minimum, complexity on the floor. Last steps or next steps. So I would like to meet everyone. If everyone has the opportunity, I'd like to do an intro meeting with myself. Number 2, do an account mapping or introduction, so I can align you with the Aryaka territory sales directors in your territory or where your customers are based. And then number 3, by doing this, I just want to give you guys an incentive. So I would like to offer everyone a $30 DoorDash gift card for taking the time out of your day and meeting with me. But my information is on the bottom. My email information is on the bottom. I'll send everything out. Also with my phone number, but I also have some content that I can give you all. And then also we can just discuss our SPIF offering on the account mapping introduction call. But I think that's it.
We've got a few questions in the queue here, so I'll cover off on these. The first one is, what are you most commonly competing against? This is kind of your traditional do nothing, stay with the status quo is probably one of our top competitors, or people trying to keep things in-house and try and build it from within. And so to that, I would also say talk at those higher levels of leadership where you don't have so many people trying to basically sandbag their own jobs and everything else. Or they may be looking at renewals of a current security products or something that are expensive. And then as far as opportunities their advisors are missing today, Julia will be happy to hear me talk about this one because it's one I'm most passionate about right now, is use the noise of AI to say you can't boil the ocean right now. There's so much going on in AI, and I'm not an expert on AI as an advisor, and maybe you do have some specific areas, but hey, I've got a solution that can help you navigate what's already in your environment, give you control over that, give you some visibility to that. So instead of claiming that Aryaka is an AI company that has this great AI solution, we give you control over what's happening in your environment using AI to observe and using AI to control what's actually taking place in that environment. So don't be the AI expert, but bring a solution to that customer of let me help you look and diagnose your AI strategy, and let's make sure that I can bring in the right parties at the right time to do that. And Aryaka provides a visibility tool that will help you do that. And then does the Aryaka have to buy circuits from, or does the customer have to buy circuits from Aryaka? So we can do the circuit procurement and act as that aggregator, keep everything under a single billing profile. Or they can bring their own circuits. This goes to that flexibility and deployment. So if they don't want to reterm circuits or swap circuits out, just want to take what they have today and add our last mile monitoring and management so that our NOC is even doing the break fix of that. They can do that, or they can continue to just operate completely separately. And so we can use whatever underlay is still there. We've got a great question about how good is Maddie's support team? Phenomenal. The support from Aryaka, our engineers know our product inside and out, and there's never any escalation to get to a tier 3 or work with all these other vendors to really sort things out. And then, Warren, I'll let you answer the 3 things that people need to take away. The question is, if every advisor left today only knowing 3 things about Aryaka, what would those 3 things be?
Hold on, I'm trying to.
I think he's stuck on mute.
Yeah, I try to wait for the thing to drop out. I think number one is for Aryaka, we are a global company, so we can protect global corporations or even nationwide. I think that's number one is we're a global company. We've got our own private phone network, so we can, customers they experience a better experience with us, not only in performance but also in security. Number 2 is we are a fully managed solution. So I think that's the value that we bring, that customers can choose the journey that they want to take, right? If they want to do fully managed where they let Aryaka manage it 24/7, 365, or if they want to, manage it between 8 to 5 p.m. during their business hours, and then have Aryaka manage it non-business hours, that's something that, that's another value. And number 3, I would say we've been doing this 16 plus years. Networking is in our blood and SD-WAN, but also adding on that SASE piece. Now we're just, we've got our networking plus security that we bring a full value solution to customers who are looking to do both. And like I mentioned in the previous slide, they can choose their own journey. If they want to do SD-WAN only today, they want to upgrade from MPLS to SD-WAN. But in, let's just say 6 to 9 months, they're looking to do SASE and they want to cut down on costs, especially consolidating vendors and technology. That's that's the value that we bring. It's a easy solution where they just give us a ring and let us know like, hey, we want to upgrade to SASE, and all it is just a flip of a switch for us. But those would be the three things that I would say as trusted advisors. Talk to your customers, and this is something that I can also send you a sales guide or cheat sheet your way.